Welcome to Channel IMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the little bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. Now, just like today, we have just receiving a breaking news came from Australia Prime Minister himself, Scott Morrison, and also adding on with the announcements of the Minister of Immigration, Alex Cork, yesterday on the 17th of January. So there's some news came out, especially for the international student graduates, and also for the working holiday makers. So it's exciting year as the government of Australia has promised over the, I think it was beginning of last year when the pandemic hit. So the Prime Minister himself announced of the 4 phases. Remember, in my channel, you might want to rewind and go back to the playlist, and you may find that video that I've done, 4 phases that how the Australia as a nation will actually go through the pandemic. So obviously we have hit that 90% vaccination rate for the population in Australia. So that means the full opening up of the border as we have experienced since 15th of December 2021. But obviously that had brought in a lot of Omicron. Anyhow, I think a lot of people had experienced it and obviously been recovered from it, which is also good. A mild symptom, not to get a lot of people into hospital beds. So anyway, let's have a look at the news. Okay, so this one I will bring in you to, I think this just came in at 10:42 a.m. That's Canberra time. So well, wherever you are, that's what the timing is. So visa charges to be waived. Brilliant. Wow, why didn't he say that earlier? We have submitted so many student visa and working holiday makers applications and had those applications pay already. Anyhow, it's good for international student and working holiday maker to actually put in their application today onwards. Okay, anyway, well, there's always complaint, but let's view it from the good side. So Prime Minister Scott Morrison has issued a call for international student working holiday maker to come on down. So come down under to Australia as Australian nation grappled with workforce shortages. So can't stress that too much due to the economy issues over the past 2 years of pandemic. Obviously, there are still people out there saying, look, we don't need migrant, we don't need skilled workers. Anyhow, I think the data and the stats has stuck it up in Canberra to actually, letting those politicians to do the right thing. I believe this is the right thing to do. So let's read on what they said. So international student and working holiday makers, so that's working holiday visas, who are arriving in Australia from today will have their visa application fee debated to encourage more to enter. Now, well, I think not arriving today because, look, you have to apply it and get it granted. It takes some time, a month or 2 or weeks to be granted. So you can't literally arrive today and get your visa waived because you already paid that probably a month or 2 ago. Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced the changes on Wednesday as the nation grappled workforce shortage because of a spread of Omicron variant. Well, not just Omicron, but the previous outbreak also causing the whole issue because Australia has been in the status of a lockdown situation away from the world. What we'll be doing is we will be debating on visa application fee. Debating the visa application fee from all those who arrived today, who told reporter in Canberra international student will have their fee waived. I think if they're gonna do that, they will send an email generally to all these visa applicants who has already got their visa granted, and through the IME account system to access a refund policy. So that's a way to go. Okay, international students will have their fee waived for 8 weeks from Wednesday, while changes will be in place for 12 weeks for working holiday maker. So that's 2 months to 3 months. So anyone that means anyone who arrive, if they haven't arrived in Australia, they won't do that. So within the next 2 to 3 months, they are encouraging international students to come to Australia and encouraging working holiday makers to come to Australia. As long as you arrived, you will have your fee waived. Whether or not you apply now, you probably pay and then you waive later. Not too sure, but let's see how that system will work. Mr. Morrison called on visa holder consider coming to Australia as soon as possible. My message to them is to come on down. He said, we want you to come to Australia to enjoy a holiday here. Well, I don't think it's going to be holiday. I thought Prime Minister himself just announced the for international student to have the working permit, permission to work unrestricted. So how they gonna, anyway, holiday. Okay, move all the way around the country and at the same time join our workforce. The rapid rise of COVID infections has resulted in thousands of workers being forced off work due to the virus being required self-isolate and a close contact. Well, are they saying that the working holiday makers won't get infected? Don't know. But if you want to come in, you got to be fully vaccinated. Okay, that's a sure thing that you require, because we have just seen that Mr. Novak Djokovic has been detained and being deported. So make sure you are fully vaccinated. Even though if you have already contracted and recovered from COVID, you still need to get vaccinated. I don't know how that argument will go, but anyway, if you want to come, fully vaccinated. Treasurer George Frydenberg said that he hoped that the change of application fee will make big differences in addressing ongoing work shortage. But there's a problem here. Now, yes, they all want to come, but have they checked the air ticket prices? As the regulation by Australian government, they are required to have not a full passenger seated airplane arriving in Australia. So if that is not full passenger seated, the air ticket price is humongous. You're talking about students and working holiday maker coming in and paying triple of the air ticket price. I'm not too sure how encouraging that it's going to be. He's estimated 175,000 students and working holiday makers will be called on to come to Australia, come to the country. We're putting on the welcome mat. Okay, how about the air ticket fees? The federal government last week announced 40-hour work fortnight work cap will be removed for foreign students, and Mr. Morrison Wednesday announced $3 million will go to Tourism Australia support marketing program. Well, that's great. Well, what about the air ticket fees? Anyway, okay, now the other news I want to bring, which came in yesterday from the Minister of Immigration himself, Alex Hawke. Now, probably a lot of people have got through this, but this is basically a repeat of what had been announced late last year. But let's have read December to January see strong demand of temporary migrant visa and further flexibility and temporary migrant. Wow, still see a lot of delay on student visa. And what about the employment work visas? There's so many 482 visas. Nomination has been approved, but the visa is still yet pending to be granted. Anyway, international student arrival, there has been an enormous number of international students arrive, and they pay for a very high price air tickets. 43,000 international students since announced fully vaccinated and arrived. Currently more than 150,000 international student holders overseas. I wonder why they don't come. What about the air tickets? Okay, who have been supported continuing their studies and reopening. So they are studying online. Another phrase is to say that skilled workers, again, they still delay. I wanted to see that being happening, grant of visa. Additionally, more than 8,000 skilled workers have arrived. 22,000 working holiday maker visa has been granted since November 2021. Demand of working holiday visa. So that's in conjunction to the news, the media news that the Prime Minister himself had attended this morning. Australia has welcomed around 60,000 family members of the Australian residents since government announced changes in November. Wow, that's great. But I think that's predominantly all the partner visa holders and the kids together. For the parent visa, I doubt it. It's still huge delay there. Skill regional visa flexibility. A government will extend 3 years to skill regional provisional 489, 491, and 494. So there has been people that they have been receiving that visa granted, but obviously due to the last 2 years, they couldn't come to Australia. So they will extend further 3 years for those visa holders, and they will provide sufficient additional time for them to actually, they will have enough time to work to meet the requirement to, again, the reason is they can actually transfer into a permanent residency once they meet the requirement. So they are, we can see that the transition of the immigration of Australia is starting to coin more and more about giving the options to pathway, the word they use, for permanent residency, rather than just giving out visas. Actually, that's a big change since the pandemic had hit the world. Temporary graduate visa flexibility. The government will make changes, allow entry of current and former 485 visa holder from 18th of February 2022 and allow them to re-enter Australia and apply further stay. So that is great. That is very good, because I think the notice that they provided late last year, it wasn't about February. It was going to be until July. So they are bringing the time ahead of the schedule. So as you can see, although the politicians don't like to say that their economy is bad, but you see what they're actually doing is actually reflecting to the status of the economy. They don't want to say bad because they still got election going on, right? If they openly saying the economy is bad, they openly throwing the they're losing status to the other side of the party. Anyway, okay, visa will extend for graduates who were outside Australia anytime between 1st February 2020 and 14th of December 2000. So visa holder or 485 visa holders, they have held the visa or currently hold the visa at those period, and their visa will be extended even though they're outside Australia. The extension will take effect on the 18th of February, so a month to go. The visa holder will be notified directly from the immigration of the extension, and they wanted to arrive. So they want more people to come to Australia to actually save the economy. Another way to say it. These changes will support return, blah, blah, blah. So the people will come down to the down under. Anyway, that's for the update of the news. Anyway, should you have more questions or query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. And what might you have already experienced, you can also leave a comment right down below. Just leave this channel as an open forum so everybody will know what's happening around the world in regards to your upcoming Australian visas. Anyway, I see you next video. Goodbye.